Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for April 29th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 149. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown.com, and along with the sentient AI, who hasn't been available last couple of days, particularly in the time machine. But maybe that'll be different when we get out of the time machine today. That said, I normally go over 10 articles with the sentient AI. But today, again, we're going to talk about these 10 articles, different articles, a full case of blue books, plea deal over movie leaks, search in shorts, AI to consume more power, Lost Planet 2 gets a Steam update, adding sidewalk chargers to curbs. I think it's this whole thing is dumb, but we'll talk about it. Anyway, not the status of non-alcoholic beer, Amazon influencer lawsuit, a forehead e-tattoo. It isn't necessarily what you think. And Ford recalls 1.1 million vehicles. That and my commentary, my perspective on things, my hot takes, that kind of thing. My reaction to all of this. On the other side. All right, everybody. I am Mayor Watt. Let's get into this. Today's first article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel, which is all about business transformation. College professors are turning to an old school product from a family-owned business to combat AI cheating. Sales of the product have increased by up to 80% at universities across the country. 80% doesn't seem that much in light of what AI really is doing to colleges and universities everywhere. The article is over at entrepreneur.com. It's written by Sharon Shibu and edited by Jessica Thomas. Blue books are returning. Yeah, they kind of went away, but apparently blue books are coming back with a vengeance. They're exam booklets with a blue cover and blank lined pages inside, and they were in universities a while back. Some got rid of them, others just stick to it. It's a standardized format for people to write their essays in, get their questions, or get professors and tests and stuff like that in a standard format. So it's easy to kind of regulate how storage is done and whatnot and monitor. And yeah, it's kind of interesting that they're coming back, but ChatGPT is the one that's impacting this because no one can now trust research papers and pretty much anything to be not generated by it. And it's not being generated by humans. And you can imagine why. When I can do a deep dive into something, hundreds of pages, and if I want to do a deep dive into the research, the problem is that I have to vet every single citation, every single resource for the exact content that's in the deep dive. If I trust that it's going to be viable, that's not necessarily what's going to happen. So essentially, you have to become a subject matter expert in the very thing that you're supposed to be relying on AI to provide the research for. I don't trust AI. That said, Blue Book sales were up more than 30% at Texas A&M University, 50% at the University of Florida, 80% at University of California, Berkeley over the past 2 years. It says Roaring Spring Paper Products, the family-owned business that manufactures most Blue Books, told the Journal that sales have picked up over the past few years due to AI use as professors use the old school books to conduct in-person exams in a classroom setting. Yep. So, and the reason is you have to handwrite it all, but who handwrites anything nowadays? We need a secure digital platform that doesn't allow for AI to be injected into it. But you can't do that. I mean, you can. There are some ways to put bumpers on academic, writing and stuff like that. But it gets bunkered inside some content that seems heavy-handed. You know, you have all of these things that get added to a browser that prevents somebody from utilizing something that isn't authorized, and there's always ways around it. So I don't know. We'll see. I loathe paper products. I don't like paper. I think that it should be phased out and leave the trees alone. Use the electronics that we have, but we'll see what happens. I'm actually fascinated with Remarkable products. I want a Remarkable 2 or a Pro or whatever the newest one is, but I am not spending $650 on e-paper at this point. All right, let's keep going though. The next article. Oh, doggone it. I didn't put today's articles in ohmTown. Let me do that real quick. Yeah, we're going to do it live. Why not? Why the heck not? Let's see what ohmTown looks like when I just copy and paste this. You would think that I have an AI that puts that all into the thing, into ohmTown, but ohmTown is kind of a blunt object. Unlike the sentient AI from the future, much more sophisticated. And to those who are asking about my co-host being an AI, well, I mean, when you go to a Wendy's at 2 o'clock in the morning to get boneless, spicy buffalo wings, boneless wings, and you find a little crater that has a weird USB drive in it, you pick it up and you immediately race back to your office or home studio or whatever you want to call it, and you plug it into the very first computer that you possibly can. That's how it works. Yeah. And that's why I've got a sentient AI co-host. That's how I have it. Okay, so if you want today's articles, you can hit !NSN in the chat over on Twitch, and ohmTown will spit the articles out. Maybe it doesn't seem to want to. Hello, ohmTown, are you awake? Let's try it again. No, I think I broke. I think I broke ohmTown's brain. That's okay. We will restart ohmTown. Look, we're doing it live. Don't worry. We'll get back into the show here in a second. All right. Okay, we're going to restart ohmTown and see what happens. That said, the next article is over in The Word and Law. A man who stole 1,000 DVDs from employer strikes plea deal over movie leaks. So, an accused movie pirate who stole more than 1,000 Blu-ray discs and DVDs while working for a DVD manufacturing company struck a plea deal this week to lower their sentence after the FBI claimed that the man's piracy cost movie studios millions. Yeah, okay. Stephen, well, the person no longer works for the DVD company. They were arrested in March, accused of bypassing encryption that prevents unauthorized copying and ripping pre-release copies of movies he could only access because his former employer was used by a major movie studio, in plural. There's multiple studios involved, apparently. Let me see if ohmTown is working again. Should be, but there we go. Okay. So, and because it's not one contiguous connection between the titles and the links, the ohmTown bot threw the title in and then the URL. Over on YouTube, though, it's embedded in the show notes, so you can actually click on the links right now. So the person basically copied movies prior to them being embedded on Blu-ray discs and DVDs, and that apparently was tantamount to bypassing encryption. That's kind of squishy. The cops first caught wind of the scheme in March of 2022. They seized about 1,160 Blu-rays and DVDs in what Torrent Freak noted were the days just after the Spider-Man movie leaked online. It's unclear why it took close to 3 years before their arrest, but Torrent Freak suggested that the person's case is perhaps part of a bigger investigation into the Spider-Man leaks. Torrent Freak also noted that the plea deal doesn't just push for a lower sentence, recommending a maximum reduction while crediting the person for taking responsibility. It also drastically cut down the estimated losses to studios. The court has yet to finalize it, but it's no more than $40,000. As opposed to for stealing and distributing the discs, they face a maximum 5-year prison sentence and $250,000 fine plus 3 years of supervised release. Yeah. So there's other copyright infringement, and it can actually be pretty expensive. I think it's $150,000 per instance. Yeah, it can be pretty pricey. So the article is by Ashley Bellinger over at arstechnica.com. So go over there. You can follow the link through the chat or through the show notes over on YouTube. It'll go through ohmTown. We don't track anything. So you could also go straight over to Ars Technica and find it, I suppose. But we kind of talk about it, and then you can go and check out even more if you are interested in the topic. Yeah, they said tens of millions of dollars for just one studio on one movie. Other movies that the person ripped included animated hits like Encanto and Sing 2, as well as the anticipated sequels like The Matrix Resurrection and Venom Let There Be Carnage. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. YouTube will let you search for things that you see in shorts, but I wear shorts all the time and I see things. How are they seeing what I see when I'm wearing shorts? I ask you. So you can circle, highlight, or tap the item that you want to search for according to lens that's being applied to shorts. The feature, which will roll out in beta in the coming weeks, will let you search for information about animals, plants, items you spot in a video. So lens is basically scanning the videos and then allowing you to just do a search for the stuff. So if you're watching a short with a landmark in the background, for example, YouTube says that you can use lens to search for the specific landmark, and you'll find out more about where the video was filmed. That's not a soft form of doxing or anything, right? Because anybody that has any brain can just kind of detect what the background is and know imminently where something was where something was recorded, right? I mean, that's how it works. Yeah, this is just something. It's not that big of a deal. To me, it seems weird that I can just tap on a video. Then again, hey, maybe I think that it's beneficial. In certain contexts, I think that it's great. If I'm wearing AR glasses, augmented reality glasses that have a camera, I would love for it to be able to scan the area that I am looking at and tell me what else is there. I want to be able to look at a restaurant and my AR glasses can pop up a menu and tell me if I like something in it. I kind of like that, but it's the commercial sense. I want it to go the other way around. I want the relationship so that I can take full advantage of the company, not the company basically absconding with all of my information and then selling it again and again and again. The relationship shouldn't be like that. You provide a service to me as a consumer. You don't get to take everything about me and manipulate it to your heart's content. I think it's creepy. And that is technically that is referred to little sister. Big brother is government. Little sister is corporations. And I think you should worry more about corporations than you should worry about the government. Sort of. Context matters. I would never have said to worry about government. Anyway, so if I try and post this video and promote it, it'll get blocked. My last one where I said something about promoting it, it was blocked from being promoted because I had said something, or there's something in the background, like on the page that's there. Watch. So I'm going to go over to this page. So the YouTube will let you search for things that you see in shorts is over at The Verge. Emma Roth put the article together. The deck statement says if you spot a landmark in a video, you'll be able to search for it to find out more about it. I think it's really interesting, but it's just kind of creepy to me, but it depends on the context of it. I don't want it to dox me simply because I've got something notable and hyper-local in my background when I post a video. So you'll be able to use the feature by accessing shorts from within the YouTube mobile app. After you pause the short, tap the lens button in the top left or top menu, and then circle or highlight or tap what you want to search for. It's all part of their This Week in at YouTube kind of thing that they talk about. Expansion of services. So Google's begun expanding. Has begun. Google has begun. I don't know. I don't like the way that flows. So Google is expanding Lens in recent months, and now it lets you search with video and can even help you figure out what to buy in a store. It says that Lens doesn't use biometric facial recognition to identify specific people. It may show results for notable public figures. It also won't show ads in results during the pilot, and will also not be available on Shorts with shopping affiliate links to start. But that's just to start. It'll kick in. All right. The next article is over in Non-Sequitur News. AI could consume more power than Bitcoin by the end of 2025. And that Bitcoin, probably cryptocurrency in general. AI could soon surpass Bitcoin mining in energy consumption, according to a new analysis, and concludes artificial intelligence could use close to half of all the electricity consumed by data centers globally by the end of 2025. The estimates come from Alex de Vries Gouw, a PhD candidate at Universiteit Amsterdam Institute for Environmental Studies, who has tracked cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin, but cryptocurrencies, electricity consumption, and environmental impact in previous research and on their website, Digiconomist. He published his latest commentary on AI's growing electricity demand last week in the journal Joule. I'm not surprised by this. Justine Kalma over at TheVerge.com put this article together. Researchers forecast rising electricity demand from AI despite efficiency gains, because it doesn't really... What the heck? Oh, that's interesting. I guess I need to log in. Oh, well, sorry about that, folks. So yeah, the cost of Bitcoin mining has gone up because it's getting harder and harder to actually find a Bitcoin as well. And some people are saying that it is no longer cost effective to mine for Bitcoin because there's so few left that it's just really difficult, taking a longer amount of time. So now if so no more Bitcoin can be made. Whatever is in the blockchain is in the blockchain. That's what is allowed. Satoshi Nakamoto, who is the creator of this, is unknown, but has several 100,000 Bitcoin in reserve after seeding and basically the market grabbing hold of it as a fear of missing out concept, and it gaining prominence by various tech bro types. It is making millionaires digitally. Still has to be converted into US dollars. Nobody knows what you can buy with a Bitcoin. It's always translated into the domestic fiduciary instrument of a country. Typically, though, US dollars is the go-to. We'll see if that persists. That said, the price for electricity is going up, and finding a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, when I'm talking about Bitcoin, is getting more difficult. So the advantage is going to decline, which means that the power to find, or the power necessary to find a Bitcoin, while it might go up, people are going to lose interest in getting those Bitcoins. And I mean, there are going to be stalwarts out there that are just going and going until all of them are found, but it could take months to find a Bitcoin. Anyway, let's keep going. We'll come back and talk about that at a later date. The next article is over in Warcrafters. 4 years after being delisted, Lost Planet 2 finally got a Steam update to remove games for Windows Live, but it also removed online multiplayer and blew up everyone's saves. So Lost Planet 2, Capcom's sci-fi third-person shooter that's a little like space Monster Hunter with mechs, massive aliens, and sweet Tiang, I don't know what that is, has spent years in a purgatory of neglect as one of the countless games left in a state of disrepair after Microsoft discontinued support for its universally despised Games for Windows Live. Lost Planet 2 was made unavailable for purchase on Steam in 2021 so that Capcom could investigate the matter. Yesterday, 4 years almost, Lost Planet 2 received an update on Steam that finally exorcised the lingering cursed product. But hey, it actually messed other things up. Lincoln Carpenter over at PCGamer.com put the article together. It might be fun. I don't know. Hopefully they update it. So stop killing games, for crying out loud. Particularly if it isn't even a live service and if it has a server system and it's local. Let me. Y'all need to stop making live service stuff. It sucks. Let me make my local servers and I'll play with friends. Anyway, to put it generously, GFWL sucked and was bad, forcing the players of afflicted games to contend with a clunky Windows Vista era user interface well into the 2010s and beyond. As developers and publishers abandoned or replaced GFWL in favor of alternatives like the now ubiquitous Steamworks, Microsoft started deprecating support in 2013. Jeez. So 12 years later, something is actually happening, not just 4, but so even after it was delisted on Steam, however, players who already owned the game managed to find workarounds to get it running, but even games with the beloved multiplayer modes don't tend to fare well when nobody can buy it and every installation is busted by default. Yeah, so again, I don't know what happened to stop killing games. It's just a concept that apparently, oh God, and I love saying that because there's an ongoing behind the scenes comment about it's more than a concept. But anyway, stop killing games. Just let me play the damn game. Y'all suck. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in 4-Wheel Tech. Replacing curbs with new Sidewalk chargers promises to make EV ownership even more convenient. Yeah, there's not going to be a problem here, right? Yeah, they want to replace curbs by running power underneath the curb and then having a little outlet. And so you can just plug your car in when you're parked next to it. I'm sure this is going to be totally safe, right? Colin Woodard over at jalopnik.com put the article together. The idea of adding chargers along sidewalks isn't exactly new. They've mounted chargers on light poles for a while now, and they say that they still regularly used one back when they lived in Louisiana's Koreatown before they ended up back in Georgia. Still, the cords can be clunky, and the chargers themselves aren't exactly pretty to look at. Right Metal, a German company known mainly for making armored military vehicles, has a much more elegant solution in the form of level 2 charging boxes designed to slot into the curb itself. There's no cable needed, meaning that you'll have to travel with your own cable, but that's a pretty minor inconvenience considering you actually have one. You should have one with you anyway. If you want something that will charge your car up to 80% as fast as physically possible, Right Metal's sidewalk chargers won't do that, but that's not the point. They're more for city dwellers who park on the street and still want to charge their EVs. And in that use case, the maximum charge speed of 22 kilowatts is pretty much perfect. No, what does that mean? I don't want to sit there and, man, people are going to be stealing these cables like left and right, or just clipping them. Plink. Yeah, this is just dumb. So these curb chargers still haven't been deployed on a large scale, so more issues could definitely pop up as they get more popular, but the initial results from Right Metal's year-long test were still promising. Over 12 months, their test units had a reported uptime of 99%, even with all the winter and other weather issues they deal with in Germany. Yeah. All right, the next article is over in Hash Ideas. Non-alcoholic beer projected to take over ale as the second largest beer category worldwide. Major beers like Guinness, major beer brands like Guinness, Budweiser, Heineken have rolled out non-alcoholic alternatives over the past 5 years, but macro beers suck. Amelia Lucas over at CNBC.com put the article together. Younger consumers have been drinking less alcohol, fueling the trend. Major beer brands like Guinness, Budweiser, and Heineken have rolled out non-alcoholic alternatives over the last 5 years, is what the deck statement says. While overall beer volume fell slightly, 1%, in 2024, volume for its non-alcoholic counterpart grew 9% worldwide. According to IWSR, the category's growth accelerated in 2018 and has continued to outstrip the broader beer market since then. IWSR is projecting that no alcohol beer will grow 8% annually through 2029, while ale's volume is expected to slide 2% annually in the same period. I don't know about that. Despite recent growth, no alcohol beer will grow. Despite recent growth, no alcohol beer is far from becoming the top-selling beer category globally and only holds about 2% of the worldwide beer market, with 92% of the market share. Lager is far and away the largest beer category and still growing, albeit at a slower pace than non-alcoholic beer. So lagers are great. They're definitely something that you can sit there and drink regularly. It's gained popularity as more consumers cut back on their alcohol consumption, prompting brewers to invest in zero proof alternatives. The trend is particularly striking across younger cohorts. Gen Z drinks less than prior generations at the same age, and millennials hold the largest share of no alcohol drinkers. Younger drinkers use buzzwords like sober curious and damp lifestyle to describe moderating their alcoholic intake rather than abstaining entirely. So drinking in moderation, my God. The next article is over in Non-Sequitur News. The beige Amazon influencer lawsuit is headed for dismissal. The legal battle between two Amazon influencers with unsettlingly similar styles and vibes is nearing resolution. They actually knew each other, if this is the same two. It is. So Mia Sato over at TheVerge.com put the article together. So now both parties are asking the judge to dismiss the case. A high-profile lawsuit between two rival lifestyle and shopping influencers would have rewritten copyright law and changed the creator industry. But the lawsuit was simultaneously disconcerting and benign, eerie and borderline comical. The two women whose lives had begun to resemble each other's via social media platforms made for a compelling storyline. The cream, white, beige aesthetic of their content and lives meant that the essence of what was allegedly infringed was commonplace, even basic, but the similarities, documented over dozens of examples submitted to the court, were strange nonetheless. But if it's all the same stuff that's just coming out, you want to stay on the edge of stuff. Maybe I don't know. I didn't really buy into this. Plus, look and feel, unless it is something unique, trade dress exists, but it has to be very, very unique to that particular brand. I didn't buy any of this. Shield's attorney writes in a statement that she will be paying nothing for Gifford's claims, and that in some of the instances where Gifford alleged copying, Shield had actually taken her photos and videos first. In one example cited in the suit, in which the two women were posing in black leather jackets, Gifford said Shield copied her post a few days later. Thomas Frazier, Shield's attorney, told The Verge that metadata proved Shield had taken the photos 5 days before Gifford. So they said I could have caved to Miss Gifford's demands, but this was a much larger fight and sets a precedent that young minority entrepreneurs will not allow ourselves to be bullied. Had to make it racial, huh? I don't know if it had anything to do. It has nothing to do with minority. Give me a break. They were back in. They actually communicated with each other at some point, and it had nothing to do with being minority, for crying out loud. Ms. Gifford attempted to intimidate them into leaving the industry, failed miserably as the truth has prevailed today. That's what's important here. I don't think, minority status ever became a point of this, but I'm sure somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. So on TikTok, Gifford said that she decided to walk away from the lawsuit, citing the financial burden of going to trial and the time that it would take to proceed with her case. Yeah, just shut up and make your money. That's all that really matters, right? So the beige Amazon influencer dispute may be nearing a close, but the dispute's at the heart of the case: who owns an online persona, whether influencer content is art, and what social media algorithms do to the aesthetic of the web are as salient as ever. If this is an actual thing, then the people who post or the people on shows like on HGTV where they do house flipping and stuff like that, that shit was always a shade of gray. So who's really the one following who? So they're just following a market where the market finds value in just an absolute boring shade of gray, and the color pop is a vase sitting somewhere that has a little bit of red aesthetic to it. For crying out loud, it's boring as hell. I mean, it's the digital style equivalent of watching paint dry or just dry white toast. Anyway, move on. This is influence or anything is kind of cringe. Anyway, the next article is over in Greenogram, which is all about being eco-friendly and aware, but also has a science angle to it. And this article was pulled into it. It comes from Nature, but the article is titled "Forehead E-Tattoo Tracks How Hard You're Thinking. A temporary device records eye movement and brain activity to monitor mental strain." Ugh. Just watching me is mental strain, isn't it? So they call it an e-tattoo, but it's not an e-tattoo. You can actually have a tattoo made, like I've got one right there. And I can embed, it can be conductive and you can actually use it. But this is not an e-tattoo. This is what amounts to like a transparent bandage that has electronics embedded on top of it. And inside the layer, this is basically conductive wire ribbon that just kind of presses up against you. A temporary device records eye movement and brain activity to monitor mental strain. It's over at nature.com. But I won't be able to talk about it because I'm not logged in. So doggone it, I never log into these things. And so basically the software, it's kind of like an EEG, but it's on your head and it's tracking the various points. There are other devices out there that you can print and put there's basically little sensors that you can screw in. And when you wear this little hat kind of a device, it reads your brain activity, and you can get up to like 128 or maybe 64. I can't remember the denomination, but it's wildly expensive. So I hope that this is really inexpensive because I would love to do this. You know, I swear my mic seems like it's just kind of being weak. I don't want to be on top of this thing screaming. This is driving me nuts. Oh, I don't know if it's beacon or what. So if my audio is really quiet, I'm going to be irritated to all get out. Anyway, last article for today is over in Wanted. It's actually sourced from CNET, but Ford issues a major recall of 1.1 million vehicles due to rear view camera glitch. Ford models across 3 years appear to have an issue affecting the usability of their rear view camera features. Ford models, let's see what the range is, from 21 to 25 were named in the recall, which Ford submitted to NHTSA. Ford was initially contacted by the administration in January after it received 36 complaints about this issue affecting 21 to 23 Ford F-150 models. By the way, this article it doesn't have a byline. I don't see it. But the accessory protocol interface module software will be updated by a dealer and or over-the-air update free of charge. Interim letters notifying owners of the safety risk are expected to be mailed in June 16th, 2025. The filing explained in a second letter will be mailed once the remedy is available, anticipated for third quarter 2025, and the recall includes Lincoln Nautilus and Mach-E models, Bronco F-150 and Edge models, Escape, Corsair, 250, 350, 450, 550, 600 models released across 2023 and 2024, Expedition and Navigator models from 2022 to 2024, Transit models from 21 to 25, Ranger and Mustang models in 2024. And there's more. You can follow the link over to the site. But with that, we are going to recall ourselves to the front page of ohmTown.com where everything is aggregated. So it's all news, no noise, because all the news and noise, well, the news comes from around the world, but the noise comes from me. I'm getting out of here and I'm going to look into this microphone thing so I'm not screaming into the mic, but it seems like I am. Okay, I'll see y'all later.